let me explain. The issue became that a lot of the content ideas that I had, I no longer really pursue. Like I'm kind of off the bandwagon for trading cards. The value of those have kind of plummeted, and it could be, it's pretty hard and it's expensive. And then the other one was video games too, and I'm not playing those as much as much either. So I was kind of at a loss of like what I wanted to do. But now I kind of have an idea because there's something I've been doing almost every day. So it gives me the potential to make a lot of really interesting content, and that's going to be related to sports betting, which I know is becoming super popular. But it's a pretty chaotic industry right now as well. And it can be very bad, obviously, too. If anybody ends up on the wrong side, going down a deep hole of what happens if, this doesn't work for you. So, with that being said, like, what I'm about to do here, none of it is going to be betting advice. I'm basically going to go through a lot of data on baseball and see if I can try to identify players that might have a above average chance of potentially hitting a home run. And again, I want to reiterate, like, this is not betting advice. I would highly recommend not doing anything related to this, but it's just something I'm doing in my own personal time that I figured I could turn into some content while I'm at it, and see what you guys think. So again, I would highly recommend not doing anything I'm about to suggest here. This is not betting advice, but we'll see how this goes here. So basically, what I'm looking at here, and I should also say too that it is kind of working for me, but again, doesn't mean that you should do it. I am up on home runs, but they are insanely hard to figure out, like, who's gonna hit one. So, but this is the process I go through, and it's worked a little bit. Like I said, I am positive on home runs, but it's a long, grueling process, and it can be hard to find the payoff. But that's just kind of sports betting in general. The thing here is, like, I don't want to just be throwing my money at just a random guess. I need to be collecting as much data as possible to try to figure out what's most likely to justify where I'm putting my money. And that's kind of the process I go through. So we'll see what you think here, and I look forward to the feedback. But why don't we go ahead and get started? So basically, what I'm looking at here is a lot of numbers, right, on how batters have been performing against pitchers. So I'm looking at the slate for Friday, July 18th. And the first game that will be played is the Red Sox at Cubs. And right away, I'm looking at the weather. Partially cloudy, 74 degrees, which isn't great. The hotter, the more humid it is, the further the ball will carry. There's a very small chance of rain, so that's probably not going to happen. But the other thing too is that the wind is blowing in right field, so that's something else that's not great. But 7 isn't absurd. Then we got the pitcher matchups. We've got Lucas Giolito and Colin Ray. I might be saying that name wrong, but so right off the bat, I can see that Colin is being highlighted in green for giving up home runs to left-handed batters. So that's something I could potentially target. But I'm also getting a bunch of data here on certain statistics. ISO is the big one that I'm looking at. That is a statistic related to how often the batter hits the ball for extra bases, whether that's a double, triple, or a home run. So dark green is good, light green is average, and red is bad, and dark red is awful. So those will grab your attention right away. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and open up the screen to start analyzing. So the history of are not. So I'm adding him to a list, right? So then I would go and look at the rest of the players. So I look at Suzuki, and again, pretty good history against this pitch mix. He's been making good contact, which, by the way, when these are green like this, it means it could be a home run in one of the 30 ballparks, at least one of the 30 ballparks in the major league. And oftentimes you'll see here, like this one was actually a home run when he hit it, but others were like field said this was an out, but it could have been a home run in a different park. This was a triple. Definitely could have been a home run in a different park, right? Same here. This was an out, a double play, that type of thing. So Suzuki is even better, I think. You look at the pitch mix. So he doesn't have a great batting average, but the ISO when he does make contact is really good. The four seam, that's super high, 266. Curveball's even higher, but he barely ever throws the curveball. So what we're looking at here is the four seam and slider, the top two pitches, and the changeup isn't great. So actually, maybe PCA was better because I think PCA did the changeup better than Suzuki. So both of them pretty decent in terms of being potential opportunities for a home run. I go down the line. Swanson's got 11 home runs versus righties, but I don't like anything I'm seeing here. Lots of red. This is lacking green. There's not much green here. Don't like that. Tucker, he's really fallen off of recent. Owner, no. Hab, no. Okay, so here's the one. This one's awesome. This is probably the best chance on the Cubs to hit a home run just off of initial glances. So right away, the history of the pitch mix for him is bright green, really good. He's been seeing it very well and hammering it. So actually, he's got a home run in here, and then a lot of fly ball outs that could have been home runs at different parks. Okay. So the metrics are really good too. They're bright green. So last 25 exit velocity 97 miles per hour, really good. Barrel percentage 32%, insanely high. And then you can see what it is. His averages for the whole season entirely, right? So he's above his average season averages, way above of recent. So he's been on fire. And the problem is they're coming back from All-Star break, so I'm not sure how valid this will be at the moment because they've all had a lot of days off. But if I look at the four-seam fastball, right, 8 home runs, dark green eyes, so change up. 5 home runs, dark green eyes, like the ISO there, 515. That is absolutely absurd. So he is hammering change-ups. So right away, the first two pitches that he most likely will throw are four-seam and change-up, and Bush absolutely smashes them. So this is what I would be calling a hammer, and I would be definitely putting some money on Bush. It's pretty incredible for what I'm seeing here. And again, you get to look at like the last 10. He did hit one in his last game against the Yankees, but then there was a big gap, right? And this is what I'm talking about. Like, home runs are highly unlikely to occur, even though the data shows that like he is doing really well against these pitches. It's baseball; anything can happen, right? So, he might go 0 for 4 with a couple strikeouts. Certainly possible, right? So, again, this is not betting advice, but what I'm seeing, like, I'm probably going to be interested in looking further into Bush as a potential opportunity. And I don't think there's really anybody else like worth looking at. Kelly has really good green down here for the history of the pitch mix, but his metrics aren't great. And then the pitch mix history up here, four seam actually is pretty. That actually is pretty good. like don't throw him a splitter. I would assume that's kind of how it plays out. They got the scouting on all these people and know not to throw certain pitches based on basically what we're looking at. So I think Duran is good enough to be added to the list, but I'm probably not going to do anything with it. I just think it's possible. And again, look, I'm trying to target lefties. So the other lefty would be Abreu. Decent metrics. Some bright green, and then history. And then the matchup against the pitches. Let's see. Four seam, not great. Splitter. Splitter is decent. Not as good as Duran. And then curveball. And he actually does hit the curveball pretty well. That ISO is insane. 625, 3 home runs. So Abreu again is this is borderline. Like the fact that he hits the curveball like that is just absolutely insane. 625 ISO is so high. But he hasn't seen a lot of it, so maybe it's a bit misleading. So he's definitely on the list. Whether or not to go as far as put money on it, I'm not sure. The four seam has me worried, right? He throws it half the time, and he's not doing very well against it, although he does have 6 home runs. 214 is not terrible. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's possible. Who else we got? Looking for lefties. There's Switch Hitter Toro. Nope, not good. Marcelo Mayer. I don't know. I don't like it down here. Metrics and history. Don't like it. I think this might be it, potentially. I think. Yeah, I mean, I am seeing that Bregman is really good against righties too, but I think he's been hurt, so there's no good metrics or history, so no, I'm not interested in that. So there we go. First game is done, right? And it takes a while. It's a long process, but I've been doing this a lot, and I figured I might as well make some content off of it. So why don't we go ahead and keep going here? Next up, we got the Pirates against the White Sox. It's in Pittsburgh. We got 78 degrees, partially cloudy. Wind blowing out only 3 miles per hour though, so wind is not helping home runs, just like in the first game up here. Wind is not, or the weather basically is not helping. But you don't always need weather to hit home runs, so it's just not increasing our chances. We start over here, Pittsburgh. We've got Jonathan Cannon pitching for the Sox, and he does give up a little bit more to lefties. So I'm gonna click the first one here. This is their best hitter. Just running a pitcher, so I'm gonna switch that real quick. And I'm looking like the only one with a green ISO is a Cruz. So like for the sake of time, it's probably not even worth looking at anybody else except Cruz. One of these guys could get lucky. You see their home run numbers against righties. It is relatively low. When you're looking at Cruz, he's got 15. So it's basically Cruz or somebody else gets lucky that you can't really predict. And when we do look at Cruz, right away some of the numbers, right, are speaking to me. History, bright green, right, against that pitch mix. Metrics, brighter green, so not bad either. Although they're still below. The barrel's really bad of recent. The exit velocity is actually, even though that's pretty high, it's actually below his average. So the metrics actually aren't as good as I originally thought upon closer inspection. If I go over the pitches, right? Cannon throws a cutter, changeup, four seam, and sinker. He also throws a sweeper, but barely ever. And he probably barely ever throws it because he's given up. He's not doing well with it. So we're looking at 4 pitches. That makes it harder to try to figure out what's going to happen. There's 4 pitches that he throws pretty frequently. Now, obviously, look at the percentages. It's typically going to be a cutter or a changeup. If you add those together, that's more than 50%, right? But, you can't ignore the fastball and sinker. So let's look at cutter. ones they hit, it's not super high. So while the ISO is suggesting good numbers, it's not resulting in actual home runs. So maybe these are doubles. And that's why the ISO could be so high. So why don't I just start from the top? And as a reminder, like, he gives up more to righties, so I prefer a righty that has good pitch mix matchup. Vargas is a righty. ISO is mid, and none of this is really that good, so I don't like it. Here's another righty, not good, a lot of red. Here's another righty, decent. Metrics average. History, pretty good. There's some bright green there. Then you get into the pitch mix matchup, and it is not good. He throws a four seam half the time, and that's literally like the only thing that's green here. I just think it's too risky. He might hit one. I don't think it's worth it. None of this is good. Alright, so there's some dark green in here, but this is a lefty, and he doesn't give up a lot to lefties. Only 3 compared to 11 to righties. So, I don't know. I don't really like it still. I don't think it's worth it. Not good. Okay, this is insane. History metrics. Who is this? This is Taylor. Taylor is a righty, so he's got that going for him too. Let's look. Alright, so 4 seam, not good averages, but the ISO is mid. Only 1 home run. So a lot of pitchers don't do well against lefties, so that could be what's kind of happening here. Slider. No, I'm sorry, curveball is what we want next. He's terrible. Slider then is actually good, but no home runs. Lots of dark green, which is good, but no home runs. And then sinker, lots of dark green, but again, no home runs. So it's just one of those that's tough. I like a lot. If you had to force me to pick a White Sox player that's gonna go yard, I would probably say this guy, but I still probably don't like it enough. Let's go with the rest of the guys. No, really bad metrics. Bad metrics. Okay. This is pretty good. Metrics are really good. History pretty good. 4 seam, dark green ISO, got a home run, curveball. Curveball's the one that's not good. Slider, all dark green with a couple, so that's good. Sinker, not as great. Splitter, I don't know, yeah, not good. So, I actually like Slater even better than Taylor. So, I think, again, I don't think it's a hammer, just because it's against a lefty, and there's only, 5 home runs against the lefty, it looks like, with these pitches. I'm sorry, 4 home runs against these pitches, so it's not, again, this is where it becomes really hard to do this for home runs. So Taylor and Slater are possible, but I'm not sold on them as hammers or nukes. Alright, so there's another game down. Next we got the Angels and Phillies, and I'm just gonna skip this one because it looks like the Angels have not announced a pitcher yet. So there's nothing for me to actually see. I could look at the Angels, but I'm not gonna bother with that. It's the same thing here. I'm gonna wait till later when they announce who's pitching for the Nationals. Alright, so now we got both pitchers in this one. So we got Giants and Blue Jays. They're playing indoors, it's a roof, right? So that's why weather isn't really a factor here at all. Nothing to really worry about in that sense, but it's not helping either. Alright, so we go to, let's start at the top, for the guy that gets the most home runs, I guess, against Justin Verlander, who there's no advantage whether you're righty or lefty. He's going up 5 to both. There's no advantage there. Actually, I like to start at the top of the list. I'm going to switch over to Bichette. Alright, we look at the pitch mix. Metrics aren't good, so I'm not even going to bother. Metrics bad, history bad. history, not good either. So while it was starting off pretty good, it's not really keeping my interest anymore. I'm gonna go back to the top of the list, and again, he gives up more to lefties. Ramos is not a lefty, so while it's possible, it's not the best matchup. Let's see, out of curiosity, yeah, there's a lot of red there. Don't like it. Nothing sticking out here. I don't know. Chapman maybe. No. See, this is where, like I said before, with the other team, like, somebody's gonna hit one, but nothing is really telling me, like, here's good history, metrics are bad, matchup is bad, so I don't know. None of these guys are really speaking to me. Somebody will, I'm sure, but I don't really like any of them. It's probably got to be a lefty, right? But like, there's just nothing here for Devers that stands out. I don't know. Yeah, there's not much to this list. That's sad. All right, next game. Athletics at the Guardians in Cleveland. It will be 76. Looks like no rain, but the wind is blowing in. So again, we have yet to see a game with some decent weather. Excuse me, I'm just having some tea while we do this together. Okay. And then once I finish my tea, maybe we'll kick it old school. I'll do some gum. But so this is pretty crazy. JP Sears on the Athletics is going against the Guardians, and he has given up 17 home runs. 17 to righties. So there is somebody on this team is definitely hitting a home run. Let's see if there's any data that stands out to us. So let's start at the top with Quan. We want righties. Like, look at this. It's just insane. We want righties. Okay. So Quan is a left-handed batter. So again, not interested. A lot of red, anyways. All right. So J-Rom or Jose Ramirez is a switch hitter, which means he will go. JP Sears is on a left-handed pitcher, so he'll actually go on the right side. So I think this is pretty good. The metrics at which were better, but there's some good history there. And then the pitch mix matchup, four seam, he throws majority of the time, and for whatever reason, he does not actually hit that for home runs. So that's unfortunate. Sweeper is next at a quarter of the time, and that's actually really good. Dark green. I wish there was more than one home run, but you also have to consider that Sears is a left-handed pitcher, and they probably have not seen a lot of left-handed pitchers. So I think J-Rom is worth adding to the list. Again, I don't know if I classify it as a hammer or a nuke, just because he's so bad at hitting home runs against the four seam from lefties. Changeup will be next. That's a red ISO, not great. And then slider. Slider, good averages, but not for home runs. And then again, so this is a bit disappointing, right? It started off good, but still not really sold after looking at all of it. Let me switch this to left-handed pitchers. That's what I'm looking for. Martinez is mid-green, but nothing there in the metrics. Manzardo is dark green ISO. He is a lefty though. So this is one of those things where, like, they stadium in Vegas built. So they're playing in a small minor league park, and that's why they've been smashing so many home runs. But this is not there. This is in Cleveland, so makes it a little less likely for anything to happen in terms of home runs. So we look at the matchup, right? He does give up more to lefties, but nothing crazy. I guess they do have a little bit of an advantage, but why don't we just go through the list, right? Start with Rucker, who was in the home run derby, but didn't make it out of the first round. So nothing good there, I don't think. Butler, some good history. Metrics are mediocre. Four seem pretty good. Curveball, slider, and changeup. No, there's potential there. It's just not quite enough for me. Soderstrom, he does really well. That fastball, that might be enough. Like 42% is really high. And man, does he hit the fastball well. ISO averages off at dark green, 5 home runs. So he's worth adding to the list. Whether or not he can pull it off, I'm not sure. But it definitely. Whoops. Apologize for that. Gotta turn off the sound. It's possible that he might go yard, but the metrics I wish were better. History good. Four seam is insane. Like, he's gonna get a four seam. He's gonna get a good chance to go yard. But everything else, not great. Slider, he does well against as well, and I guess the curveball for that matter. So, this is probably, I don't know, it's got me interested. I just wish the metrics were a little bit better. Again, I don't know how relevant the metrics are at this moment because they're just coming back from All-Star break. So, it could be interesting to see if they just kind of pick up where they left off or if they might come back a little rusty. I don't know. I don't know what to predict from that. Nick Kurtz is my guy. He has won me a lot of parlays. Like you see, he just smashes. He is insane. Alright, so like home run. Alright, his metrics off the charts. Bright green. History not as good as I want, but if I scroll back further, you can see he had a good spurt there and then kind of died off a little bit. All dark green basically for all the pitches except curveball, which is his number 2 pitch, of course. So we got four seam. Looks great. Curveball, not good. He cannot hit a curveball to save his life. Barely ever hits it. Like, he's really bad against curveball. And then you got slider and changeup. So slider is good and changeup is great too. So here's the thing, like, if I was them, the other team, right? If I was Slade and the general manager of the Guardians, I would definitely be saying you need to throw him a curveball as much as you can because he does not hit that. But you're not going to throw 5 straight, 6 straight, however many times it takes. You're not going to throw a curveball every single time. He's going to have to throw in some other pitches that Kurtz absolutely smashes. So I think I'm comfortable saying that this is a hammer, not a nuke, but a hammer because that dang curveball. I think this has a good chance, a better chance than most, that Kurtz could hit a home run, right? So this is the process, right? You can see that we're going through here, trying to figure this out. And then we got Muncy. Nothing. I mean, he hits the four seam well, but just wish the rest of it was better. Clark, no, I'm gonna look for the ISO against right-handed pitchers. Zoom in and wins. No, okay. So we got Soderstrom and Kurtz. updated to show the pictures. No. Angels, no. Nationals, no. Kansas City, still no. Mets, no. Yankees, no. Okay, here's one. Orioles at Rays in Tampa Bay. It's hot, probably humid, but not much wind at all. Alright, so here we go. Start at the list of Caminero, who was also in the home run derby. He's got 18 home runs against righties. 23 total. So, in terms of Morton, I mean, he gives up one more to lefties. I don't really think that's much of an advantage. The ISO is a little bit better too, but I don't really think there's anything there. I'm gonna just treat it equal, whether you're righty or lefty. You probably got the same chance. Alright, so let's start going through. I'm gonna start at the top, go with Yandy. Metrics decent. I don't like the history. Alright, Caminero. Metrics decent, just not much history, unfortunately. Curveball, not good. That's what's thrown the most, and he's really bad against the curveball. So that's unfortunate. It's a home run hitter, but it just doesn't look like a good matchup. I mean, he could get a fastball next, right? That's the next highest, and that is something he does really well. And then sinker after that. Okay, so maybe. Okay, the sinker and four seam is grabbing my attention. The problem is he's really bad against curveball and cutter. Man, it might be one of those where, like, it's possible, but I don't know, man. I don't know. That's tough. I'll put him on the list, but it's definitely not a hammer, because those other two pitches he's not good against. Alright, let's see. Aranda, good at history, decent metrics. Curveball. He actually hits the curveball well, it's not for home runs. Four seam next. Yup. Change up. Yup. So, and then sinker and cutter, not as much. So, I think this is definitely better than Caminero, but I'm not sure. You know, maybe it is. Maybe it is a hammer. I don't. It's pretty dang close. Metrics are decent. History is good. And the matchup, not bad. Alright, if I'm looking at everywhere else in the roster, I gotta go pretty far down the list. Okay, so Chris Morel. Pretty good metrics, pretty good history. Matchup though, let's see. Curveball not bad. Four seam, fine. Sinker, no, really bad. Cutter, really bad. I don't know, it's possible, but like, he doesn't always play either. You know, you can see 96 at bats. He doesn't always start. So he's, I don't know, he's probably not worth looking into. Even though, like, it's decent there. Like, I don't know, if I find out that he's starting tomorrow, maybe. But yeah, that's it. So not a lot. Caminero on the list, but not great. And then Aranda might be somebody worth throwing some money at. Okay, Taj Bradley gives up a little bit more to lefties, but nothing crazy. We got. Okay, so let's take a look at Bradley's a righty, so I just want to see he's added to the list, but I don't think it's quite a hammer. It could definitely happen, that's for sure. I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't know if it's worth my money. Let's go start with Simeon. No, not good enough. Smith, no. Langford, no. He does hit the sinker really well though, that's what's grabbing my attention. No. Berger, no. I'm Seager. Seager's metrics are pretty good. They're decent. There's a little bit of history there. Four seam bad. Change up bad. No, can't do it. Yeah. There's not a lot of options here. That makes Stillus the best one, but I don't think it's likely anyways. Let's go to the other side for Detroit. Patrick Corbin gives up more to righties, but the ISO is pretty solid between the two, pretty even. But it just so happens, he faces more righties, so he's giving up more. I don't think it's anything crazy in terms of the difference there. He is a lefty though, which is harder for the hitters. You see the ISO, we do have some dark green, some guys to consider though, that's for sure. So when we start at the top with Riley, he's only got 2 home runs against lefties though, and lots of red, not good. Torkelson, lots of dark green, metrics mid, no history though, not good. Yeah, but let's take a look at the matchup. Slider, dark green ISO, got a home run. Sinker, green across the board, couple home runs. Cutter, not good. So again, wouldn't be surprised if he does, but not quite. I don't think I'm calling this a hammer. I'll add him to the list. Alright, let's see who else we got. Gleyber Torres. No metrics or history, so not really interested. McKinstry, no metrics or history. Bias, no. Dinkler, no. Sweeney, no. Perez, okay, so there's barely any history here, meaning Perez hasn't. He must have come up really. Yeah, he's only got 28 at bats against a lefty. This is probably a rookie or somebody they pulled up recently, and he just hasn't seen that many lefties. But what he has seen is pretty good. Exit velocity is super high. This makes it tough. The last time he saw a lefty with these pitches was in June, a few weeks ago. So this is hard. All the signs are there, but I feel like it's misleading because the sample size is so small. But slider is terrible too. Number 1 pitch, and he can't hit it at all. Then you got sinker, and he doesn't hit any home runs for that either. And then we get to cutter and change up. Cutter, green across the board, but no home runs, and change up. He does have a home run there, so it's like I can add you to the list, but I think it's just misleading because of the fact that it's a small sample size. Then we got Meadows, no. Rogers, no. Jones, whoever this is, he's barely played 35 at bats, but man, it does look good. History is great. How much history? Not at all. That's as far as it goes. So again, he's kind of with Perez, where he's probably a rookie maybe, or a bench player that doesn't play a lot, but he just is actually really good against these pitches. Now you would hope that the team sees this too and actually plays him because he does well against it, but you never know. Let's look at the matchup. Slider. Yeah, he's just not hitting home runs against that. Slider, sinker. apologize I didn't get the gum in this episode, but I will for the next one. But yeah, this is not betting advice. I'm just kind of going through and trying to make my own decisions about what to do. I would not recommend tailing me at all. And but I am interested just to see what you think. So that's gonna do it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was relaxing. Until the next time, this is ASMR